All right, let's get into it. All right, you should already know what this is. And yes, you've not noticed, I'm not changing my shirt because we're all doing this in one recording. Well, not really one recording, but you get the gist of it. If you're enjoying this little series I'm doing out here, please let me know down below by leaving a like, leaving a thumb on the video, and share it with the many people you can. Help this series grow, and so I can do more of these and be able to actually be able to financially do and buy more. But I do have a lot to go through, so you know, we have a good bit of episodes to go before I'm out of materials. Then we got digital stuff, which I'm not against it, but I'm always saying if you're gonna buy mangas, buy physicals. And today's manga is no different. Hunting in another world with my elf wife. Now, if you realize a bit of a theme here, I like fantasy. A little bit of romance doesn't hurt, but this is definitely not a typical isekai in a grand scheme of things. Now, the character is as usual, but this one, he dies from a bear. It wasn't me, but he dies from a bear, and he dies and he goes to another world as a god brings him there. But the god has a little twist to it. She, as he dies, goes to the world. She gives him a bag, and inside this bag, he puts money in. The god gives him said item he looks for, and the character, he has quite a fans of guns. Merc, right on here. This is if you're a guy that likes fantasy and likes a little bit of guns to your fantasy. Alakablam! This is probably what you want to pick up. Now, the main character is also Japanese, died while hunting. His grandfather taught him how to hunt when he was younger, and he never got to hold a certain rifle or a certain shotgun. His grandfather always held off for him, but he plans someday to get that gun in this fantasy world. He has to make money in order to get the weapons. Now, the god is actually back in the human world from which he came from, and she's working at the gun store. So every time he gives her some money, she gets the gun for him and sends it along the way to him on the other side in the isekai world. In the world, he finds thick mommy, elfie mommy, tall and slender. Well, not really slender. She's actually kind of a little thick. Yeah. And she's a blonde. So you like him that way? You got all the taste right there. But you meet her, and she falls in love with him as he is a great hunter. Though may small and petite and not maybe very buff, but he has the boom and alakablam, making a girl's wet dream just get a little moist every time you hear that boom. And she slowly falls for him, and he slowly falls for her. But she's a bit of an outcast from her own elf kind, because she's a little different, built different, and she's a little bit of a tomboy. But nothing wrong with that. They slowly get along together, and they help some elf people. Some elves have gone missing, and they're gonna try to figure out where the elf is gone. But along the way, he's gonna learn how to take down new and interesting boss, how to help the world with his new fancy gun. But lo and behold, the secret organization behind it all is actually trying to learn how to get a hold of his gun so they can make one of themselves. Now, this is an enjoyable story. I'm really enjoying this. There's not much you complain about this. Now, if you are a person going, no, my fantasy must have magic and sorcery and skills and people yelling their special attacks every time they do it, alakablam, alakablam, that would just be my simple yeah, this is pretty much simple, right? It's a guy in a fantasy world with a gun, but he has different types of guns. He gains and gradually buys different kinds of guns and bullets and makes a few things. He even has a saw-off shotgun. Talk about fun. And actually teaches quite a few things about guns. You'd be surprised how many people are, gun fanatics in Japan. Who would have thought people don't like being, compressed, want a bit of freedom, and their shotguns and their rifles. No AKs just yet. Give it time, I guess. I don't know. But it's very loving. The charm, the combination between the gun and the fantasy world. Now there is a bit of fantasy in there when it comes to magic and spells and abilities. You meet some other characters. Heck, they even get surprised when the guy can learn how to shoot a pigeon. That was weird, but I guess pigeons were a problem back in the day. So I guess getting rid of pigeons could help out. You learn a little something in this book. It's definitely a book that you can learn a few things. So let's just jump right into it. The art style. Now, art style. I don't have very much to complain about. There really isn't much to say about it. Close this side off just in case YouTube might not like this kind of imagery, but there is some nice artwork in here. I'm trying to show off something that's not going to get me in trouble on YouTube because, well, it's YouTube. There's so many things that can get me in trouble because his guns They don't like guns, but there's also some very pretty artwork in here. Nice lines, nice artwork. Nothing over elaborate, nothing overly drawn or. But at the same time, like I said, she got some big on thighs. Man, look at those things. Crush my head. But it is a very well drawn, clean lines. Nothing cartoonish or childish or overly drawn in a scheme, but yet sometimes it can get pretty elaborate, depends on your view of it. Now, I would say it's, for me, for one of the mangas I've read before, I give it a 9 out of 10. And again, Bear-serk is mostly, like, so far, like Bear-serk is one of my few 10 out of 10s art styles. So sorry, that art style you can't really complain about. But it's a 9 out of 10 art style. I love it. Again, there's some comical moments where they do a little bit more of a cartoonish style, and some serious moments where they go to more of a dark ink, blacken things, and really get into a fearful or scary moment. And there's some whimsical, beautiful scenes, like that one marriage scene where they kiss. It goes through a scale of things rather than saying one thing and then just drop off the quality later on when either the artist stops caring about trying to make it look pretty or to quickly hasten the story that they're still working on rather than worry about quality over quantity. I give it that. So 9 out of 10 art style. Yeah, get some come on, get out of my. Okay, so next thing we're gonna go for is story. I had to say the story it's nice. It's not rushed. Now, some stories, if anybody's read some mangas before, the story can last maybe two books and the story be over and already rush into the next thing. I feel like the stories there's not many side stories. Now, have you ever watched some animes where they're going through one side story to another side story and the main story doesn't seem like it's ever making progression? All the while you're reading this book, the progression of the story, the main story, even though you're not aware of it, is progressing. And of course, it is kind of about the kid and his wife. I don't know how old he is, I can't remember. Normally, main characters in mangas and animes are pretty young because they're trying to hit a younger audience. So I don't remember how old he is, but I think they're around the same age. She's just freakily tall. But and of course, this is a fantasy world. So they, their marriage, him learning how to get new guns, learning how to hunt new things with the guns, what those guns or bullets can do to certain things, and how they build it. It's definitely a love letter to guns. This person that wrote this thing is a real fan of artillery and weaponry. He's I would say, dare say, fanatic, and it has a nice charm to it. It hasn't got too wild, like it hasn't got like dragons or mythical beasts or gods yet. Nothing of that level. It's quite charming and quaint, but yet at the same time serious and dangerous. It gets serious and dangerous much later on in the manga. So if you're keeping up with this, stuff gets real, okay? It doesn't keep this windful life is butterflies and rainbows in this. No. It gets, let's say, too dark, but it gets good enough. So I say this story for the person that is, I give the story, I'm gonna say 8.5. 8.5 story for me. It's not that it's bad. It's just I do like a little more windful, magical stuff in my world. Guns are, I'm not a big gun fanatic, but I was willing to, even though I'm not a gun fanatic, I was still willing to read with this and keep up with the manga. So it's not saying it's bad. I'm still buying the new one. When a new one comes out, I'm going to buy it. Just guns are not my thing. And I would kind of like to see them start implementing magic to guns, right? Trying to push the envelope and not just be a guide for gun buyers out there. But again, if you're a gun fanatic, this is probably really good. The difference in the characters, I get why they always aim to a younger audience. I get that, and being that I'm a little bit older audience when I was younger, this might have been right up my age alley, but I still can enjoy the loving romance. The main character is a bit of I wouldn't say recluse, but he isn't as bold as some of the other manga characters that I talked about earlier. He isn't this guy. He ain't gonna have at it. True to himself and to how he feels about old girl, he's a little bit shy and timid. And again, I know reason why the culture is like that. But if it was me, there's no way I would have been shy or timid, even at his age. Nuh-uh. Nope. Especially as soon as someone showed me attention, I was craving it. This kid, cool. I don't like that. Now that's a bit more of a going to the character growth thing. We'll get into that in a second. But story overall, I give it an 8.5. I did enjoy it. I just wish they would do more to the guns rather than just be a, like I said, a pamphlet to gun buyers and artillery buyers. Not really my thing. But it's cool to see what guns can do. I learned a few things about this thing that I honestly didn't know. Like hollow points. You'll learn it if you read it. Next, I'm gonna talk about the character growth. Now, character growth is probably probably my biggest complaint with this one. It's still a good story, but character growth. Elf girl, start her off. She is, she doesn't think highly of herself, but she's known what she's quaint and able to do. She falls in love with the main character really too easy. Honestly, I felt like it was almost like rushed at some points. Like, wow, you just love him? Like, no question, just bam, I like you, let's get together. She was like almost like me. Guess she was starving for attention. She got it, and she's like, oh yeah, love puppy. You know, that was, it felt a little rushed. I wish they would have took that a little bit more slowly and build it, rather than just, they're now they're a couple. So that part, but she did, you know, she does grow on you. She's a kind, sweet person. She is a bit of a tomboy. And again, I've dated a tomboy in my days and age. Tomboys, there's nothing wrong with you if you're a tomboy out there. Enjoy it and be it, but you can still be a lady. And she showed that she could still be a lady, still be a woman with a tomboy side. That's completely fine. And she's a go-getter. She doesn't like, hey, I'm not afraid. I'm not gonna let my size or people say about me dictate who I am. I'm gonna get it. This is who I am. And I can do what I put my mind to. And it's, hey, good for you. In my opinion, a good image for a woman that is a little bit more mannish. She's like, hey, you can be that, but yet still be a woman. And I do appreciate that, but the growth of her is a little slow. So is the main character's boy. Now he's all knowledgeable about books and learning things, and that is all good and fancy. But I think his mind is still too much fixated on his previous life and his previous world. And the only time he really focuses in when his danger is coming his way, or he comes to his wife. I don't really know him as a person. And that's weird to say. It's like, you think you go through that many books, you start learning a character. Again, he's a little too shy. Yes, he's maybe a little young, but I think it's time to start growing the character and growing them rather than just growing them as a couple, right? Letting the character feel out things, what he needs to take care of, what he needs to learn, going through life, taking care of business. Just build on that character a little bit more. Again, does not pull away from the story at all. It's still a very enjoyable story. But I say that the character growth from pretty much all the characters, like even the character he meets later on in the city when he gets his hunting license. That character's a lot of questions about that character that we still don't know. No character growth. The elves in the other village don't very, like, I know the characters, I know who they are, but not very much character growth of that group or the main elf girl in that family or in that village. You learn a few things here and there, but it definitely focuses more on just the story and then them being as a couple. I wish they would, and of course, bullets. That's pretty much, you want to get the grand scheme of the story. But what does the back of the book say? But my score for the overall character growth, I give it a 7. It's okay. It could be better. So the back of the story is Lost and Loaded. Nice title. After being killed by a bear, professional hunter Shin, I don't know about a professional, but yeah, he definitely knows a lot about guns and bullets. Shin Nakami has awakened in another world. Armed with only his short gun, things get hairy when wolves attack. He looks like his second chance in life is short-lived until a beautiful elf, Shireen, comes to his rescue. A skilled hunter in her own right, she and Shin instantly connect. Perhaps she can help him find his way in this strange new world. Again, I would recommend this. Now, if you're gonna try this out, you know, again, I know everybody don't want to read this book. There is ways of reading this for free, but I'd say if you read it and you like it, please support the book. If you want to buy subscriptions, there's a couple of subscription websites out there that you can read digital manga out there. But I say, for your safety, if you're going to buy books and buy manga, buy physical so you have a hold of your own content, right? You can't be like Crunchyroll going, hey, here's digital stuff, and one day that site shuts down and all the stuff you bought is gone for good. That's why I say buy physical, but if you want to buy digital just for ease of use and access, sure, go right ahead for it. But support the industry from which you enjoy. So again, this is Hunting in Another World with My Elf Wife. Now, this is a 13 plus, so it is for those who are young adults, but it's nothing too promiscuous or overly tantalizing, but doesn't give me what, like, 13 plus, with gore and violence and cursing, blah blah blah. Doesn't give me other stuff in the back of the book, but they're really expensive. Each one of these books that have been recommended are like 14. Let's see, the ones were cheaper than that. 13, another 14. There's one, of course, back in the younger days, back in my time, I used to get some books for like $10. So some overall score for this manga is an 8 out of 10. Not the worst. Leave your thoughts and buy it and tell me what you think. Give it a shot. And as always, have a good day, have a good night, have a good life. Much love, y'all. Bye.